You know, in life, we've been given so many things, haven't we? When you really think about it, our health, our finances, our families, our friends, our acquaintances. God's been, He's been good to us, and we got so much to be thankful for. He's given us so much to be thankful for. And my question to myself and my question to you is this morning: what are we doing with the talents that God has given us? What are we doing with the talents? Now, you say talents. Let's talk about talents. If you look at this passage we're going to be looking at, talents, and I'm going to give you the definition from the Thorndike Barnhill 1968 dictionary. Okay, talents. First, an ancient weight of measure during biblical times. One talent was worth a little more than $1,000. Second definition, a special natural ability. So I'm not just talking about money, by no means. I'm talking about the talents that God has given you. Whether it could be money, but it can be just your natural talents of what He has given you that you can do so much with for Him. Okay? That you can do so much with for Him. The definition looks like, starts off, but if you read the whole definition through on that word, you see real quick that talents has a lot more to do than just finances. It's more than that. So my point this morning is, what are we doing with the talents that He's given each of us, each one of us? The Bible says that when we become a believer, each one of us is given at least one spiritual gift, an ability, a talent to do something well. What are you doing with it? That's the question I asked myself this week. Turn to Matthew. Matthew 25 is where we're going to be at. Matthew chapter 25, verse 14 through 30. This is the parable of the talents. Okay. While you're finding your places, let's talk about a parable for a minute. Okay. A parable is a truth that's being laid down beside of a story so you get a better understanding of it. Jesus spoke in parables all of the time because that's what it took to get people to understand. They could understand what He was talking about, but he was driving another whole point home out of it. Okay? So this is a parable. And another thing about a parable is a parable always has non-named people. Many cases it's fictional people. Okay? Not real. There's no names there. That's another way you can always tell if it's not a parable. If there's a specific name to a specific person, it's not a parable. Okay? This is a parable. Matthew 25, verse 14. Again, it will be like a man going on a journey who called his servants and entrusted his property to them. To one he gave 5 talents of money, to another 2 talents, and to another 1 talent, each according to his ability. Then he went on his journey. The man who had received the 5 talents went at once and put his money to work and gained 5 more. So also the one with the 2 talents gained 2 more. But the man who had received the 1 talent went off, dug a hole in the ground, and hid his master's money. After a long time, the master of those servants returned and settled accounts with them. The man who had received the 5 talents brought the other 5. Master, he said, you entrusted me with 5 talents. See how I've gained you 5 more. His master replied, well done, good and faithful servant. You've been faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Come and share your master's happiness. Wow. The man with the 2 talents also came. Master, he said, you've entrusted me with 2 talents. See, I have gained 2 more. His master replied, well done, good and faithful servant. You've been faithful with a few things. I'll put you in charge of many things. Come and share your master's happiness. Then the man who had received the 1 talent came. Master, he said, I knew that you were a hard man, harvesting where you have not sown, and gathering where you have not scattered seed. So I was afraid and went out and hid your talent in the ground. See, here it is, what belongs to you. His master replied, you wicked, lazy servant. So you knew that I harvest where I had not sown and gather where I have not scattered seed? Well, then you should have put my money on deposit with the bankers, so that when I returned, I would have received it back with interest. Take the talent from him and give it to the one who has the 10 talents. for everyone who has been given more, and he will have an abundance. Whoever does not have, even what he has will be taken from him. And throw that worthless servant out into the darkness, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Wow, there's a lot here, y'all. There's a lot here when you look at this. And it's there's more to this parable than just the talents that were given to the three people. There's a lot more here than just the talents. You know, Jesus is the one telling the story, okay? And his intent is to get those that are listening to him to understand how to handle what they've been entrusted with. How do you handle what God has entrusted you with? Some of you have the gift of gab. You can speak. Some of you are writers. And you can write. And some of you have the gift of hospitality. Some of you have the gift of teaching. Do you see where I'm coming from? What Jesus was trying to get the people to understand, what I have given you, use it. Use it for his glory, for his benefit. That's the point. That's the reason he gave us these talents. Whether it's your finances, whether it's your abilities, whatever it is, he said use it. And that's what I hope we can get out of it. How to be faithful to God with what he has given us. That's what we need to talk about today. First point, I got 3 points here. The first point, the master gives the talents to his servants. Again, it will be like a man going on a journey, he said, who called his servants and entrusted them to his property. So the master of the house is going away. He's going to go away for a period of time. And when he's gone, he takes what he has and he leaves it with some people that he handpicked. He handpicked. We were handpicked, okay, by God, right? He picked us to be his children, right? He gives them control. J.B. Phillips says it this way: it's just like a man going abroad who called his household servants together before he went and handed his property over to them to manage. Hey, man, I'm going to be gone for a couple of years or a couple of months or a couple of weeks. I want you to be in charge of everything. Take care of the household. Take care of whatever, the crops, the people, the livestock, right? And, you know, possibly you've been selected to manage the assets of whoever it is you work for. You know, some of you have been in positions where you were in charge. And that's scary sometimes, because they expect you to do what's best for the company, don't they? They expect you to do what's best for the bottom line. Verse 15, to the one he gave 5 talents of money, to another 2 talents, and the other 1. Each according to his ability. God has never gave you a talent, a gift, that you are not capable of doing something with. If he gave it to you, you're able to do it. Okay? He's not looking for qualified people. He's looking for people who are willing to take what he's given them and do something with it. I've said this thousands of times, and I probably said it that many to y'all too. I never had a desire to be a pastor. That was not my desire when I went to Bible college. That was not my desire. My desire was to finish work, retire, for her to retire, and we were going to Arizona and work for United Indian Missions, which was a great organization, and I had been in touch with them for quite a few years, and the guy over it said, look, I want you to come, I want you to be over all of our facilities and manage all of what we got going on here, which is a big facility out there. They fly missionaries and they fly supplies into missionaries into Mexico, back and forth all the time. They have huge hangars. They have a lot of buildings. He said, I want you just to come and be in charge of all that. Take care of it for us. But we don't put anybody on staff here that doesn't have at least a year of Bible. Okay? Okay, yeah, I can probably do that. Look where I wound up. I didn't get to go to Arizona. The first place he sent me was to Southmont. I guess he thought, now can you see sending, well, it's not even red no more, a red-headed, fair-skinned white boy to Arizona with the Indian Missions? He probably thought, no, you'll probably fit better in Southmont. You probably do better there. Never wanted to be a preacher. So you say, well, you don't understand. No, I understand this. If God has called you to do it, you have the ability to do it. The problem is you got to what? Do it. You got to do it. You got to do it. I don't know if I can do that. Well, if you can't, He'll let you know real soon on. You won't have to worry. He's looking for those who are available, not those who are qualified. You know, so we can see the master had selected 3 of the servants that he felt would do the very best with his assets. You didn't get put in charge at work because, you know, I used to hear people say that all the time. They didn't like the plant manager. They said he's awful, this. I said, yeah, I can understand why a Fortune 100 company would take the stupidest person they could find and let them manage a $20 million asset. That makes sense to me. Yeah, I can understand that. I said, you don't even know what you're talking about. They selected the person that knows the most about what they're doing. The master selected the 3 people that he felt would do the very best. God has selected us to do stuff, whether it's teaching back there now. I remember when we first asked Karen to teach, and she said, I can't do it. And we said, well, we'll put somebody with you for a while until you feel comfortable. I don't know how many years ago that was now. I remember asking some other folks, and they felt the same way, and they went back, and the kids come back and say, oh my gosh, we love that person. Wish they'd be back there with us every week. See, you have the ability, but you got to put the ability to work. And that's really what he's saying. You know, when we think about this, are we doing what we could? He put them in charge of what he felt they should be able to handle. One of them he gave 5 talents to. He said, this is my top man. I trust him more than anybody. He'll do. And the next guy he gave 2, right? And then the one guy, he said, I ain't sure about him, but I'm going to give him 1. That's probably where I was. He said, I'm going to let him try. I'll send him to Southmont. He can't mess up too much down there. You know, his language will be fine down there. They won't, you know, if he says ain't a lot, it won't make any difference. They'll be okay. So, you know, that's the first part. We see that the master picked who he wanted to take care of this, right? The master gives the talents to the servant. The second point is, the servants are in charge of their actions. You're in charge of your actions with what he has given you that you're able to do. You know, you're in charge. I was going to Bible college. Everything was going pretty good. I had this vision in my mind of, you know, I'm here and I'm trying to get here, and I'm like, all I want to do is get a year of this behind me, and I don't even care after that. And this is the first couple of years of the 1 year. It wound up being 5 years before I was done. And I never forget, I had to take a class called homiletics. And I was like, I don't want to take that. They said, well, you got to take it or you can't graduate. You'll have to take this class. So I said something to my pastor at the time. I don't want to take homiletics. He said, you really ought to take homiletics. He said, it will help you just in teaching Sunday school. It's teaching you how to take the word and prepare messages with it. He said, you really need to take it, Craig. Don't look at it as a negative. And look where it went. You know what I'm saying? When you stop and look at that, God knew better than what I knew, but I was responsible for my actions. Verse 16 says, the man who had received the 5 talents went at once and put the money to work and gained 5 more. So also the one with the 2 talents gained 2 more. But the man who had received the 1 went out and dug a hole and hid the money in the ground. You know, when you think about it, you know, the one thing about being in charge is you're responsible for your actions when you're in charge. You're responsible. The boss, you know, I can never remember the boss chewing me out for decisions that other people made. Really. Now, I've sat in the superintendent's office many a days and got chewed out. That's probably a good way of putting it. Got chewed out over decisions that I had made that maybe didn't go the way he wanted them to go. But you know what? I didn't have to take responsibility for other people's decisions, but I had to take them for mine. You say, well, where are you going with this, Craig? You know, there's going to be a day the Lord comes back, and he's going to say, I gave you the ability to talk. I gave you the ability of hospitality. I gave you the ability of teaching. I gave whatever. And you didn't do anything with it. You know, I've always heard that about people that have the ability to, if you don't use the ability, eventually he takes it away from you. Think about that, some of you. If you don't use your ability, he will take it away. I still play the guitar. I don't think it's a gift. I don't think it's a talent. I don't think it's a spiritual gift he gave me. I think it's just for my own self-pleasure. But some of y'all are much different with that, okay? Yeah, I can't even get Pam to come listen to me play. So it's just for my pleasure, nobody else's, okay? And sometimes if she's going to bed early, she actually opens the door upstairs and says, could you quit playing? I don't care if you quit playing, but quit singing, okay? I can't hear the guitar. Yeah, it's sort of bad. So, you know, I don't guess I've ever spoke to anyone that I can remember that would not agree that sometimes being in charge of something is not all it's cut out to be, you know. Sometimes when you're in charge, it's not all, because you're making decisions for someone else. You're making decisions for someone else's asset. Do you realize, think about this, y'all, do you realize that as believers, we're making decisions for Christ, for God, with what he has given us? When we say, I don't want to have to do that. I don't want to. Yeah, I really don't want to have to help with. I never won't forget one time we were getting ready to do Vacation Bible School, and I asked for volunteers. And one woman, somebody told me, said, she'll help, but you'll have to go to her personally and ask her. She won't just come because you asked from the. I said, okay, so I did. I said, we really need you. Would you help? She said, I'll help, but I want you to know up front I don't want to do it. Oh, okay. All right. Well, maybe I shouldn't have asked you. Maybe you don't need to do it. You know, what's God going to think when he looks at the talent? He said, I gave you the ability. I gave you a talent to do something with. And you took it and stuck it in the ground, covered it up, and said, there it is, Lord, I still have it. No, you don't, because you never did anything with it. You never did anything with it. Third, the master will return. The master will reward at his return. Now think about this a little bit. After a long time, it says in verse 19, after a long time, we don't know. One translation I was reading said 2 years, but we don't know. Because you know why we don't know? Because the Bible don't say. Okay? So quit putting stuff. It's not hard. We don't know because it's not there. After a long time, the master of those servants returned, and he settled up the accounts with them. He said, let me see what you've done while I've been gone with what I put you in charge of, okay? And the man who had received the 5 talents brought the other 5. He said, look, you entrusted me, so I've done what you asked me. I gained more with it. He said, well done, good and faithful servant. You've been faithful with a few things. Listen, I will put you in charge of many. Okay? Hold on to that. Think about that. Keep that in your mind. Come and share your master's happiness. The second one, the man with the 2 talents, also came and same thing, trusted and see what I've gained too. His master said, well done, good and faithful servant. You've been faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Come and share in your master's happiness. And then the 2 servants made good decisions. Okay? They made good decisions, and the master had given them. He commended them. It's nothing like being patted on the back. You know what? If you read many surveys about that stuff, they say that the average worker wants, the one thing the average worker wants more than anything else is this, is to be told, I appreciate you, man, and you're doing a good job, and I appreciate you. More so, that's hard to believe, more so than a raise, and more so than anything else. What they want more than anything is recognition for what they have done. To be able to say, I appreciate you, man. You went the extra mile. You took care of me. You know, I've always heard that, and it's true, I think. And you see it right here. God commended them. Jesus commended them. Well done, good and faithful servant. He saw that they did good with what he entrusted them, and now he was going to give them more, he said. Because you've proven to me, listen, do you sometimes wonder how some people have so many different spiritual gifts, talents? They can play, they can sing, they can dance, they can preach, they can whatever, you know? Do you ever wonder about that? Well, have you ever thought about it this way? Maybe it's because they don't bury them in the ground and they do something with them. And God said, you know what? You've been faithful with what I gave you. I'm going to give you some more. I can use you. I got a place for you. I can do something. I can do something with that guy, that woman. I can do something with her. The more I give her, the more she's going to give back. And we're not talking money now, y'all. We're talking about abilities. We're talking about money don't bring people into the kingdom. We're talking about bringing people into the kingdom of God. That's what Jesus was talking. Yeah, he used money, but the key here is God probably gave you a lot more talent than he gave you money. If you're like most of us, you might better take the abilities he gave you. Because if you're like me, he gave you a whole lot more of that, evidently, than he did money. You know, the master was pleased with them, and he told them, come and share in my happiness. I want you to know how happy I am. I want you to come share it with me. And the man who had received the 1 talent, the master said, you knew that I was a hard man. You knew I expected you to do something with this. Right? He said, you knew that I go harvest stuff that I didn't even sow. I seen a field and it didn't belong to nobody, so I just went and cut it and got the hay off of it and said, hey, we can use that. He said, I harvest where I don't even put seed out at. And you knew that. And he said, so I was afraid and went out and hid your talent. I was afraid that if I messed up, you can't be scared of if you're going to mess up or not when you're working for God. You got to go. And if he doesn't want you to go, he'll stop it. I'll never forget, a man told me one time, he said, if God doesn't want you to preach, listen, he was an old pastor, he was sick, he was in the hospital, he was dying. And I wasn't even there to see him. I was there to see my stepdad. And they were in the same room together. And he said, I understand you're going to Bible college. Yeah, you're going to be a pastor. I said, I don't know about all that. And he said, well, listen, I just want you to understand one thing. He said, if God don't want you to ever preach a message, you'll never preach a message. He said, don't ever let that leave you, okay? God's got something for all of us to be doing, you know? He really does. He gave us all talents. He gave us abilities. He gave us whatever you want to call them. His master replied, you wicked, lazy servant. You're wicked because you didn't do what I asked you and you're lazy. It's hard to work lazy people, especially when you're motivated. I've always been motivated or maybe I'm overstimulated. Maybe it's too much coffee. I don't know. But my problem is I've always expected the people to be at the same level I'm at. And that just don't work, does it? Because most people ain't at that level. Y'all know, some of you shaking your heads because you work people, and you know what I'm talking about. I'm a hard worker. I don't mind working, and I want to get stuff done. And if you don't want to do that, sign him to somebody else. I don't want him. He's of no value to me. Period. Boy, I'm glad God ain't done that with me yet. Because I get lazy sometimes. What if he said, you know what, man? I saved your soul from hell. And all I want you to do is tell some people about Jesus. And if you don't want to do that, sign him to somebody else. I don't want him. Wow. That's sort of scary when you think about it that way. He said, you should at least took my money, because they were talking about money. He said, you should at least took my money and took it to the bank. At least I'd have got some interest on it. Right? If you're making money off of interest, guess what? You ain't making no money. But besides the point, he said, at least you'd have got 15 more cents than I gave you, maybe. You didn't get nothing. You put it in the ground. Take the talent. Here you go. Take the talent from him and give it to the one who has 10. That's what I was talking about before. When he sees we do more, what does he give us? He gives more. He said, you know what? You did good teaching them little kids. I'm thinking about moving you up. Not me. I didn't say that. The Lord said, I got something else you can do. You're growing spiritually. I can do more with you. I can use you more for my glory, for my kingdom. For everyone who has will be given more. And he will have an abundance. The more you do, the more he's going to give you. The more opportunities he's going to give you. Right? For everyone who does not, even what he has will be taken from him. Wow. Wow. Don't use it. You're going to lose it. He says, and throw the worthless servant outside. Get him out of here. He's no good to me. The master said, he ain't getting, next time I leave, he ain't being in charge of nothing. Okay? Because he messed this whole thing up. Wow. The third servant only returned what he'd been given. He didn't lose anything, but he didn't produce anything. God said, I gave you these talents, and you've done nothing with them. And one day I'm coming back to get you because you're my child. and you're going to have to answer for all that I gave you that you did nothing with. Think about it that way. That's how it hits me. Are we using what He's give us in the way that He expects us to use it? Not the way you want to use it. I don't, like I said, I never wanted to be a pastor. God had a different plan. His plan was different. He saw something in me that I did not see in myself. That's for sure. I don't even really like to talk. Listen, God has left us in charge of much, whether it's physical talents, spiritual gifts, financial talents. What are you doing with the talent that He's gave you? What are you doing? Are you using it for Him? Are you using it for Him, or are you just wasting it? Have you dug a hole and just put it in there? I'm not doing that. I've had people say, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing it. I'm not going to teach. I'm not going to help. I'm not going to do. Okay, all I can do is ask. You're missing your own blessing. The biggest blessing I've ever had was teaching. I would rather, I shouldn't say that because y'all might not come. I would rather teach a good Bible study than preach. I really do. I love it because people get involved and they ask questions and they start, they feed into it, and it's exciting. It's exciting to see people thirsty, The Bible says that all of us have that spiritual gift that was given to us. Call it a talent if you want to. What are you doing with it? You may say, he hasn't given me much to be in charge of. Well, maybe that's because you've never done anything with what He originally gave you. I'm telling you, listen to me, the more you do. I'll never forget, I was teaching an adult Sunday school class. Y'all were in it. Quite a few of you that come here. Donald and them aren't here, but that were in it. Man, at one time, we had about 40 people in our Sunday school class. It was awesome. I loved it. It was great every Sunday morning. Didn't even have to use a quarterly. You could teach on whatever you wanted to. It was awesome. I loved it. And the more you give back, He says, wow, I can do more with that. I can use you. I can do more with you. Possibly He hasn't given you much because you haven't managed the asset He gave you very good. The worst thing you can do at work is do a good job. Because the more you do, guess what? I'd say, the boss would say, well, I'm going to put this, I need you to take care of all this too. I said, I'm covered up, man. He said, yeah, but you'll get it done. If I give it to them, it never gets done. So I said, so I should just drag my feet and be like everybody else, right? And not give a hoot. No. I said, well, they get by with it, and we all get paid the same money. So why should I carry the load for everybody else? That's what I'm doing. He said, because that's your DNA. He said, you can't not do it. He laughed at me. Now get out of my office. I got stuff to do. He said, you can't. That's a double negative. You can't not do it. He said, because that's not the way you're made. He said, so I know if I give it to you, it's going to drive you crazy till you get it done. Yeah, you're right. It's not what He's given us, y'all, but it's how we handle what He's given us and how we give it back, to Him. You with me? You with me? This morning, what are you doing with the talents that God has given you? That's the question I leave with you today. Let's pray. Father, thank you. Thank you for today. Thank you for giving us abilities that we never even realized. God, we have so many abilities, so many opportunities, so many things that you could use us for. Lord, help us to realize we're here, you're the master, and you've left us in charge of a lot of things. And you expect us, Lord, that when you come back, you expect us to have done something with us. God, I pray that you keep my eyes open, and I'd be a good steward of what you've given me, Lord. And one day, we would all be able to hear you say, well done, good and faithful servant. Well done. Lord, take the time we have left and use it for your glory. We ask this in Christ's name. Amen.